You know, Simon, there's an expression I hate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Business as usual.
Why? That means it's fine. It means everything is fine.
No, but it's not. Either your business is going really well and you're doing something extraordinary, or you're about to die.
Really?
And if you think business as usual, you're probably about to die.
You know, this business is not about to die. That's 130 years.
Whoa, look at this, Simon. This looks so good.
No, we're not going to have those.
All
You know,
right.
we want the plain kind of classic New York cheesecake.
I have it.
Magnus, I hate a thing too.
You hate the thing too, so this is the day
I
for
get to
hating.
hate the thing.
Okay, let's do it.
You know, when we talk about extraordinary experiences, things that are remarkable.
Yep.
And I feel when we talk about that, people often think that's about something visual, something superficial, like
Oh,
flair,
but you
fancy.
mean that it's something that goes deep to the core of the business.
Like a cake has to be fantastic, from the icing to the core, baked through and through.
That's actually a really good metaphor for the value of Sanity, for the value of the content operating
I
system.
guess it is. Like a good developer knows to build a fancy front end.
Oh, but an extraordinary developer knows that you have to build it good all the way from the front end down throughout the stack to the core, to the content operating system.
Yes, so the content operations at the heart of the company. We should make this point in our spring launch film.
Maybe we just did.
Maybe we just did.
The thing is, as developers, we obsess over beautiful designs and exceptional user experiences. We fret over sub-pixel positioning and millisecond latencies. Presentation really matters. And with that level of care for the user experience, we want it brought to life by content just as thoughtfully crafted, using tools and infrastructure that help unlock our full vision. That's where Sanity comes in. It's not just a way better CMS. It's a complete content operating system, giving developers control over the entire stack. The Sanity Studio is a delightful environment that content teams love while being entirely configured and built out with TypeScript. Real-time collaboration, comments, tasks, release management, and visual editing come ready to go out of the box. Plus, you get built-in apps like a media library and the canvas for creative writing. And with the App SDK, you can even build your own. Then all of it comes together in one unified content workspace called the Sanity Dashboard. But in its heart, Sanity is really a globally distributed, real-time data platform optimized for content. It supports precisely the content models you need without limits, powered by really expressive APIs. And the backend is fully programmable. You can deploy your own functions and AI actions right into it. You can really integrate, automate, and distribute everything everywhere. And you know what's cool? Since it's all defined in code, the new generation of AI dev tools can help accelerate your entire development workflow. Whether you're a solo entrepreneur, an agile startup, a hyper-growth rocket, or a giant enterprise, Sanity is proven. This is just how you take control, in depth. This is the Sanity Content Operating System.
I'm not even supposed to eat sugar.
I know. We're not going to tell your family
My
until
daughter's
April.
going to kill me.
Hey, Simeon.
Hey, Evelina.
We're unboxing the spring release.
We are unboxing the spring release. And there's so many things that we need to talk about. We just got to jump right in. But we can't talk about anything until we talk about the dashboard. This is a brand new home screen experience for all things Sanity, where you'll get observability for all of your studios and all of your Sanity applications all in the one place. And for all of the demos that we're going to show today, we're going to put them through the lens of an imagined events company. You can imagine that they've got events all around the world, different content teams with different responsibilities, and that's where we're going to be showing everything today. And so you can see from this dashboard for this event company, you can see they've got all their different studios and they've got different Sanity apps. And you might ask the question, what's a Sanity app?
What is it?
And so you might have used Sanity Create in the past for free-form content editing. Well, we're now calling that Canvas, and Canvas is a Sanity app within the dashboard. But Canvas isn't the only app we're talking about today, is it, Evelina? You've got another one to show us.
So we're talking about Media Library as well today, which is a new Sanity app. And one that I think personally makes a lot of sense in the Sanity universe. It's a natural evolution to what Sanity stands for when it comes to structured content, because structured content isn't obviously text. It's also assets, it's images, it's videos. And what Media Library now does is it makes assets a first-class part of the platform. It lives within Dashboard as a standalone app, and you can store, organize, and serve your images alongside your studio without being in the actual studio, so you can use it for many studios. Speaking of serving, Media Library might be new, but the foundation it's built on isn't. So you can basically leverage the same CDN, the same image pipeline and collections that you all know very well. The cool part is with Media Library is you can start using it immediately. This is because it's backwards compatible with the old solutions. So if I was an editor today at the company that we're talking about, I could start using Media Library immediately. The only thing I need to do really is go to Media Library, upload a bunch of images, and then I go back to any of my studios and choose an asset from the Media Library as a source. Of course, this is not all you can do. Some of the things that are actually so powerful about the Media Library is, so let's say there's been a recent running event and I've got a bunch of new images I'd like to add to my sites. The first step what I would do is upload all these images in one go. And what's super special then is that the Media Library then allows you to take actions in bulk. This is thanks to aspects, which is basically what we're calling the schema for an asset. And you can think of this as like custom metadata for your assets. So while uploading these images to the event, you get the benefit of adding photographer, license, you name it, to all of these images in one go.
Media Library, that's going to be a game changer. We've got so many assets uploaded that need clearing out.
And that will be gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Media Library could be that thing for us of just like if we impose that structure on our assets so that we know like, oh yeah, like this is the show, these are the assets associated with that. Underneath, like nesting then episodes and seasons and tagging everything correctly, like I could foresee a big usage for that actually.
So we've seen Dashboard, we know Canvas, we've now seen the Media Library. What if I told you, Evelina, would you believe me if I told you that you could build your own apps?
There's own apps?
Yeah, you can build your own apps now, and that's what the App SDK is going to allow you to do. It's a really exciting set of tools that is going to let you create and deploy apps directly to the Sanity dashboard. So the Sanity Studio has been the real workhorse of the platform since we launched, and people love how you can customize it in any way that you like and build essentially whatever you need inside of Sanity Studio. But those extensions and plugins that you build, they end up trapped inside of Sanity Studio, and it becomes something that requires a lot of technical expertise, not only to build, but to navigate as well. While it's always been possible to extend and customize the Sanity Studio, there's always been these little micro behaviors that you've probably run into these before that have been difficult to replicate. Sanity Studio is built on APIs that everybody has access to, but these little behaviors like making sure every fetch for a list of documents is a live updating list of documents. Or if you want to make an edit to a field, you need to know, is the document published yet? If it's not, are there different versions? Should I create a first draft version? Doing optimistic updates. There's a lot to getting your apps and extensions feeling like Studio native tools. And lastly, the biggest limitation has been that Sanity Studio has only ever targeted one data set and one project ID. And for these reasons, we built the Sanity App SDK so that you could more rapidly build applications that feel like the studio, but live inside or beside the studio now within the Sanity dashboard. And I can keep talking about the Sanity App SDK, or I can show it. Let's just jump in and have a look at some of these examples.
Let's do it.
So imagine our event company has folks who aren't day-to-day content creators, but they need observability of content operations, like what events are happening on certain days, or where events are happening in certain locations around the world. And these are just simple visual examples, but maybe you do have content operators that need to make changes regularly, like really data-intensive operations, bulk edits, deletes, publishes. And the Sanity Studio doesn't really give them the tools that they need. Well, now you can rapidly build a surface that provides that workflow for those users. So you're essentially building your own content operating system. And to be clear, these demos are just demos I built for this. We're not shipping calendars and maps, but you'll be able to build them thanks to the App SDK and AI tooling in no time at all. But let's stop looking at the UI. Let's jump into the code. The building blocks of App SDK are headless React hooks. You can instantly initialize a new app from a template, and you can configure it to target multiple project IDs and data sets, or just one. And so instead of working with Sanity Client and handling your own optimistic updates and fetches, The App SDK provides multiple hooks for like fetching lists of documents or fetching an individual document, taking a projection, getting the current user, interacting with the dashboard, all these different features. We've really simplified those sorts of hooks that you'll need. And you can even perform actions or mutations in bulk. So changing the same field in multiple documents at the same time or publishing multiple documents. These things are all much simpler than they ever have been before to build. So you build whatever app you need, large or small, and to perform whatever content operations that are specific to your business and your editors. And best of all, we're not actually specifying any front-end framework. Of course, you can use Sanity UI if you want it to look like the studio, but if you're more comfortable with Tailwind CSS, Base UI, Shed CN, Bootstrap, anything, you can use these hooks in conjunction with the front-end library of your choice, whatever you're more comfortable with, and build what you need. And I've developed dozens of Sanity plugins over the years, and the App SDK is genuinely all I've ever wanted to simplify that process. I think the pace of plugin and extension development and Sanity app development is going to go through the roof. So I'm really, really excited about the App SDK.
Likewise, and speaking from my own experience, I used to work at a travel tech company, as you know, and I think we could have really unlocked a new use case for our social media team. And they could have had like a dedicated workspace instead of working in like the main studio. And now with the media library as well, they can actually get access to all the content there.
Yeah. No, I think this unlocks real new possibilities to give specific authors that have a specific job to do just the app that they need, instead of having to pick through the entire studio to find assets and find documents all along the way.
Exactly.
It's going to be easier for us to, again, create a little prototype of something and then just embed it and see how it's used, gather some metrics and then kind of iterate from there.
So we have a bunch of dashboards and other things built around fetching Sanity documents and having people use those in their workflows. And having the React hooks with the use document is going to give us basically a live view into how those documents are changing. And if something changes, we can update our dashboard real time. And we're able to probably consolidate some of the disparate tools that we've built into one unified platform.
So far, everything we've looked at, it's all been user interface. Dashboard, canvas, media library, apps, but content goes well beyond just pressing publish in the CMS.
It does. Content is, ever evolving and ever changing, even though it's structured. So we need something more.
That's right. And that's why we're releasing Sanity functions. So Sanity's long had webhooks. You probably used these before as well. And these would take actions on your behalf when a document changes. So if there's a mutation inside of a data set, a webhook fires. Grok-powered webhooks were awesome because they would send off a certain projection from changes in the document. And you got to make those fine-grained responses. But the endpoint that would hit would always be some external service. You'd be in charge of setting up the API. You'd have to stand that up somewhere else. You'd have to host that serverless function somewhere else. But Sanity has this ambition to be the home of all of your content operations. So it makes sense to me, that we should be able to host those things for you. So what functions are essentially event handlers that you can run on Sanity's infrastructure and deploy from your code, which allow you to take all of your code for your studio, all of your applications, all of your functions co-locate in the one place, meaning that everything that happens is inside of the content lake. So these operations that take place after content changes in the content lake run on functions that also live inside the content lake. It just makes a lot of sense to bring all of those things together. When authors press publish, they should have absolute confidence that whatever else needs to happen in the life cycle of content does happen. And there's all sorts of activities that need to happen over the life cycle of a piece of content that could be powered by these event handlers, Sanity functions. Things like syncing data between applications or enriching content like AI-powered translations. Maybe performing longer running tasks like creating new assets, creating new audio assets, uploading them to the media library, for example. Or maybe you perform other secure or long running tasks that they need to happen when content changes, and functions are a way to secure that to happen. If there's one part that's very difficult about working with webhooks, what is it, Evelina?
Develop them locally.
Yeah, developing locally, it's really tough. And that's why we're shipping a development playground, so that you'll get a better understanding of what actions are going to happen on specific types of content changes. Because you only want to fire them when a specific event happens, and you want to be able to test that in advance before deploying. And functions are the first entry point into a new piece of the configuration API that we're calling blueprints. And so this is infrastructure as code for your Sanity configuration. It's how you're going to configure and deploy functions, and it does have grand ambitions beyond that, which I can't wait to see what we roll out into the future. Blueprints are going to set the foundation for everything Sanity.
Once we heard about Sanity Functions, we thought that's exactly what we've been looking for. Like, not having to make this external loop out to the internet and then back into Sanity is going to be a game changer for us.
For example, we send off every story that's published to Apple News. Right now, we have a fairly complex workflow that uses a Rails app with Redis that like saves the document. We can use functions to just automatically, when a document's published or every morning when new content is published, we can just send it up to Apple News. Very simple, very easy.
And so that's functions, but that's not everything, is it? We're not done yet.
It's not. We have so many more things to actually unpack.
So many more, but let's keep going.
Yeah, let's go. And I think a personal favorite of mine and a personal favorite of yours is the new and improved doc site. If you're a lazy developer like me, and I can't speak for Simeon, but if you're a lazy developer like me and you have trouble sometimes finding things and you want answers quickly, thanks to our new and improved doc sites that we've reorganized, we've restructured, and we've done this all thanks to user research, we've actually flattened the structures. You'll be able to Command F anything. And on top of that, we also have task-based navigation for common user problems. Our hope is that regardless of your knowledge of Sanity, you can find exactly what you need. And that's not it. The entire documentation is actually loaded into AI context, which means that you can ask it any questions you need and you get the answer that you want.
That sounds awesome. I should be able to get a unique answer just for me, specific to my project, when I'm searching the AI documentation.
Exactly. And you may also remember that in our winter release, we actually announced something called content releases. And this has been in private beta since then. But as of February this year, we've actually released it to everyone. What's cool about content releases is obviously that you're empowering the team to work simultaneously on different releases. You do this by grouping and stacking these changes. You can schedule them at different times. It also works really well with visual editing and presentation. So you don't never have to worry about not knowing what you're publishing. And you can always get like a sense check before you actually press publish.
Content releases is awesome, and I've been using it to publish every episode of the Code and Content podcast, which you must subscribe to and like on YouTube.
Please do, and press pause now otherwise, and do it now. We're also announcing Insight, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And it does what it promises to do. It gives you insight into your content operations.
Is this another app that lives inside of my Sanity dashboard?
It is.
Wow.
It is. We're doing this because we want to help teams. And we want to help teams to improve time to publish. We want to help them with the quality of their content and validation of their content.
Awesome. I know there's a lot of teams who are going to really benefit from this. Heard these conversations in the past. Teams that have huge numbers of content authors distributed around the world. They want to know how to improve those processes with the people that do those content operations day by day.
And we're also growing our offers of AI tooling.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Previously, we had AI Assist available inside the studio, but we're exposing the power beyond the studio. Essentially, what this is, it's a headless version of AI Assist, which lets you trigger actions on your content programmatically without actually having to interact with your studio.
It's cool. And I've had to play with these APIs and they're really fast. And it opens up a whole new world of doing things. Instead of just computing new values off of values being changed, you can actually create entirely new pieces of content and treat content more like prompts for the next action to happen.
We already use AI Assist and Sanity pretty heavily. Like all digital companies, we want to be able to lean into technology. And I think Agent Actions is going to open up, a whole new door for us.
So we've unpacked so many things.
So many things.
But what should people do next?
People should go to sanity.io. They should sign up. You get to try out all these features straight away and get to see how great that they are. And let us know in the comments, is there anything that we missed? Is there anything you're more excited about? What else would you like to see? We're going to publish so many demos, videos, courses. There's going to be more content from Sanity coming out over the next few months, all on these features that we've announced today. So stay tuned and we'll see you in the next one.
Just so good. Are you going to lick that paper?
I'm going to lick this.